there seems to be a belief, when you look at the statistics, that this is a disease that only affects the people of a certain age or with pre-existing conditions.
Well, it certainly depends on, if you look at the death rate increases with age and increases particularly rapidly once you get to 50, and then accelerates after that, so that by the time you're in your 70s and above, that if you get the infection, the chance of death is quite high compared to people in their 20s and 30s. That doesn't mean to say that it doesn't infect people in that age group, and it does. And in fact, if you look at serological studies that suggest that actually the infection is more common in younger people, they just don't seem to get the acute, at least severe illness. Having said that, there is, and it's too early to be sure, but there is certainly increasing anecdotal evidence that younger people, even though they don't necessarily have a very severe acute illness, may go on to have quite prolonged, quite severe debility after the illness, and suffer some degree of disability for quite some time after acute infection. So certainly younger people are at risk, maybe not so much of dying, but possibly, if these early reports are substantiated, at increased risk of getting long-term chronic complications.
How much do we know about this, Professor? It seems that, it's something that infected the lungs, and then now we understand that actually it could be cardiovascular. Like, when will we have a real answer of the longer-term implications of COVID-19 on people that have had it even mildly?
Yeah, well, probably not for a few months yet, because generally when we talk about chronic sequelae or chronic consequences of an infection, we're talking about symptoms and consequences that last for more than 6 months. Now, clearly, the vast majority of people who've been infected by this virus were infected less than 6 months ago. So until we actually wait a few more months to actually get enough cases, we won't really know what the longer-term implications are at 6 months. But I suspect that we're going to see a lot of publications come the autumn about what happens to people in the longer term after an acute COVID-19 infection.